Welcome back to the Interviewing People Career Cast, featuring highlights from the full-length interview with Ben Etzler of the U.S. Navy and Ryan Caligiuri of the U.S. Army. In the highlights, Ben and Ryan share how going the ROTC route differs from attending a service academy, how military service can be used to pay for college tuition, how jobs in the military can relate to what a person wants to do in civilian life, and much more. So sit back, relax, and know you can always go back to watch our full interview if you'd like to learn more.
At the end, regardless of the source of commissioning, right? So to become an officer, you have to get a commission, and that's either through a college degree at a traditional school, i.e. Bowling Green, or something like one of the service academies. You know, right down the street from where I'm at now, we have VMI, which is a pretty big one, West Point, etc. But you still get the same commission at the end, so you're an officer regardless. There was just a lot more restrictions in going to West Point. There are definitely benefits at the end when it was all done, but I wasn't entirely sure, you know, what I wanted to be when I was a grown-up per se. And West Point was a lot more restrictive. I mean, even in terms of degrees, at that time, there was like 16 majors you could choose from. West Point's based in engineering, so they're all engineering related. And it wasn't something I wanted to do. I wanted to be a teacher, which is what I went to school for, and I'm doing now, coincidentally. So it allowed me to pursue that civilian career path that I wanted, where West Point was more restricted and said, hey, you had to go for this stuff. If I remember, the Air Force Academy and the Navy Academy both had the similar restrictions. So it was very narrow career-based post-Army career or military career, where if I went through ROTC, I could major in underwater basket weaving if I wanted to. They just needed me to get a degree.
On top of that, you have the GI Bill, which is something that you can tap into while you're in the service or after you separate and then use as a veteran. While you're in, however, there's a lot of college opportunities that are presented similar to civilian sectors where they'll pay for some amount of college while you're working for that organization. I was able to use that benefit, it's called tuition assistance, to pay for my bachelor's, and then following that, it does pay for your first master's degree as well. So falling within the stipends for that, which they change based off of budgeting and funding periodically, but you're able to get the degrees through that over a period of time. So while Ryan was able to go ahead and do it in a very compressed period of time, mine was a very drawn out process because I was doing it while also working in a full-time position. Bechtel National Incorporated, it's a long story. Bechtel is now owned by a company called NNL, Naval Nuclear Laboratories. It's a training command we have in upstate New York for training and certifying potential nuclear operators to go onto their first submarine or ship to go be nuclear operators to operate the Navy's nuclear reactors. So it was under that umbrella that title showed up on my LinkedIn. That's really what that is. So it's really an instructor job is what that actually comes out to be.
So my career path is taking some twists and turns. After I commissioned into the Army, December 2008, my mandatory initial entry training type stuff, got back in August of 2009 and I had my degree in education, but by that time it was too late to get a teaching job. So my initial intent was, you know, do the Army Reserves, like I said previously, do my minimum commitment, if you will, and get out. But an opportunity came up to go on a full-time status for a couple years, did that, got done with that, got married, and was like, all right, I want to go part-time with this, kind of figure out what I want to be, if you will. And I taught for 4 years in the city of Indianapolis. I enjoyed it. But then about 2016, the opportunity came up to the Army full-time again. And I went ahead and pursue that. And as far as the teaching thing, I'm actually an assistant professor of military science right now at the University of Richmond. And in that regard, that is for the Army. So we are official, it's part of the Army ROTC program here. The Army assigned me to be here. I've been here for about 16 months, I would say. So the first time I was a teacher, that was when I was in the Army part-time. So as far as the Army, and all the branches are similar in this regard. So we have the active duty. Those are the guys who do it full time. That is their job, 9 to 5. They're always on duty of that nature. Then you have the reserves and the guard. They're very similar in their duties, roles, responsibilities, but the reserves is a federally owned force. So they work for, United States government first and foremost, and they're going to work on that to dumb it down. Orders given by the president and on down, right? So they work for the federal government first, and then the National Guard works for the state government first. So, a national disaster happens. The National Guard, their number one or first responsibility is to respond to that national disaster. The reserves and the active force can respond to that national disaster, but there's a lot more paperwork and there's a process to get them there, which must more drawn out. As far as responsibilities, the active duty, that's full time, every day, all day. Where reserves and guard is what you make it, if you will. Like the commercials say, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year. That's semi-true. Positions of responsibility, you're going to have to put in more time, or if you want to put in more time. I know reserve members, and Army National Guard who have been in some sort of full-time status almost their whole career because that's what they wanted. I'm still in the Army Reserves, but I'm a full-time member. So I'm not active duty, but everyone I work with is active duty right now. And as far as pay, benefits, all that, it's the exact same. I'm just under a different umbrella.
Was my tour on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. And that's a twofold one. So I spent about a little over a year, it's all blurred together, running reactor propulsion division. So we were responsible for the entire propulsion train. So the main engines, the shafts, getting the ship moving at whatever speed we needed it. We also owned the turbine generators for making power. We owned the distilling units for making the water. So we were kind of the central hub of the ship. And there was 150-ish people that worked for me. And I had some of the best leaders that I served with there to kind of help maintain all of that. And it was just a great experience. Right behind that was the Theodore Roosevelt's COVID deployment in 2020, when we got stuck in Guam, and seeing everybody come together to get us through that was another great time. Very challenging, but you dig deep and learn a lot about yourself and those that you're working with. Deployments as a whole, though, they average about 6 to 9 months. It sucks leaving family. There's no other way to say it. Like it's definitely challenging, but you do get to go places. Like you join the Navy to go see the world. That's how you do it, is those deployments. So I did 2 deployments to off the East Coast through Europe, down through the Suez Canal into the Persian Gulf, and then I did 2 deployments on the Pacific coast. One of them we went across, ended up hitting up some Pacific port calls, and then ended up in the Persian Gulf. And then the final deployment we ended up doing, it's called a 7th Fleet deployment. It's where you hang out in the Pacific for most of it. They do your research. So there's a lot of different rates and options that the Navy can give. Every one of them has their own unique things that you can tailor, and everybody who's looking at joining has something that they enjoy doing or they want to pursue, whether that be for a 20-year career in the military, or they want to get some of the benefits after a 4 or 6 year contract and then get out. But whatever they do following that, there's going to be an aspiration or a joy that they have for that. So if you want to teach, find the job that most relates to that in the military or the Navy and go do that. If you want to go be a nurse or a doctor, go be a corpsman, go get those initial skill sets to help you be successful later in life.
I still don't know what I want to be when I'm growing up. Like, I enjoy what I do. I have zero complaints, but my career path continues to change and evolve. And I started this journey, 17 years ago. 2004 was when I started ROTC, and I still don't know. So, if you ask me right now, where are you going to be in 4 years? I can't tell you. I don't know what that is. I want to keep, stay in the Army, but do your research, because I hear that a lot. I want to be active duty. I want to do this. You don't know what you don't know yet.
Thank you for watching this episode showing highlights of the latest Interviewing People career cast with Ben Etzler and Ryan Caligiuri. And to make your Mondays better than ever, subscribe so you can hear more career stories from those who are actually doing the work. Thank you for watching, and as always, remember that the best part about Mondays is interviewing people.